Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to Tariff Tuesday. Not Taco Tuesday, but Tariff Tuesday. Good morning everybody. Good evening everybody. Good night everybody, depending where you are in the world. Welcome to another edition of the accesstrader.com nightly wrap-up show. Kindly guys, do me a favor, just click a like on the video, support the channel again, and we will try to figure out this mess that we are in the midst. So, if you guys remember, the market had a really, really euphoric rally the first 2-3 weeks that Trump got started his second term in office, and everything was euphoric. And quickly, things evaporated very, very quickly. And the reality came, well, the market was up a lot in the last 2 years, needed a little bit of a break. And the question is, well, how big was that break going to come? We lost the 50-day moving average. And again, by now, you hate the word 50-day moving average. But again, for those who understood the ramifications and understood why things were about to happen, you were prepared. And not only prepared, you were prepared to take advantage. And in the last 7 days that the Qs have lost the 50-day moving average, we went from 523 on the Qs all the way down to 487. Again, put this into your mental Rolodex, right, guys? For all you guys who have witnessed this the first time around, right? The first time around, it's very, very important that you understand what is happening, that you understand the importance, the significance, if this ever happens again, the significance if once again the bulls reclaim back the 50-day moving average. This is your time. This is your opportunity to put something concrete in your foundation toolbox, so next time around you could really, really do well. So we've been selling pretty hard. The Trump tariff battle between Canada, Mexico, China is going back and forth. Today, a lot of headlines that came out. The market at one point today, we got absolutely smoked. Matter of fact, if you look at the final numbers, it's pretty bad. I mean, you have the Dow tumbling 1,300 points in the last 2 sessions. Again, today down 670 points. The S&P has completely erased the whole Trump rally, and the Nasdaq continues to sink lower. The good news is today was one of the very few days that I could remember since we lost the 50-day moving average that there was a little bit of hope from the bulls. And the reason why I say that is, you guys remember when we were towards the top of the channel, we talked about there's something called the rolling top, right? Rolling top, which basically meant at some point the euphoria was so aggressive that buyers got tired, right? And eventually that rolling top came, and you can see it, lost the 5-day, lost the 10-day, lost the 20-day, the 50-day, on and on and on. I'm not saying by no stretch of the imagination. Okay, people have been calling the bottom for the last 3 weeks. Every day I roll my eyes and say, okay, that's great. But at least today I can say one thing. For at least one day, and again, I don't know if that's going to spill over into tomorrow's session, but at least for one day, it felt like the sellers were getting a little bit tired. Okay, it felt that way. And, you had these really aggressive moves. If you guys remember last night, we talked about specific levels on the Qs, specific levels on Tesla. What would happen if Tesla would lose the 200-day moving average? We talked about what would happen if Amazon lost its previous day's channel, right? We talked about all these things. We cover these things. And they happened to me, right? The open was super duper aggressive. We'll get to the pivots in a second. We're super duper aggressive. But to the bulls, credit, right? I'm trying to piece my words carefully because I don't want to give anybody the idea that, hey, we are at this bottom right now. And that's it. That was great. I don't care. Again, I've been saying this for 3 weeks. I'm not looking to call a bottom. I don't care about, being credited to calling a bottom. More important is I knew where the breakdown was. And I think we were in really great place to take advantage of the downside move in the last 3 weeks. So I don't care about the whole, he called the bottom, she called the bottom. That's the most least important thing for me. Most important thing is trying to get ready for the next day. Okay. A lot of the NASDAQ names went green today, right? A lot of the names. You had NVIDIA after just a destruction, right? Again, you see, remember it lost the 50-day moving average? Again, another case. It went from 34 to 10, 34 and 10 in 6 days. NVIDIA got absolutely sold off, manhandled in the last 6 days. Stock went green on a day, right? Google that got absolutely manhandled. I mean, manhandled ever since it lost the 50-day moving average, went green on the day. There was a lot of names, right? There was a lot of names that went green on the day, right? You had Microsoft going green at one point, pretty much everything. Avago, this one, and so forth. And the one thing that I kept on thinking to myself, well, is this a scenario that the bears really got tired, at least for a couple of days, right? And as we're rallying into the close, the market gets absolutely slammed out, right? Absolutely slammed down. I said to myself, there's no way the bulls just messed this up, right? I said, there's no possible way the bulls did not close at the top of the range, making for a potential day two that much more available to us, right? Available to us if indeed the sellers got tired in the short term. But letting the bulls just absolutely gave it up in the last, 15, 20 minutes. And every single stock, guys, every single stock that I trade is right now in the middle of the range. Okay, let's go through them one by one. Google's high today was 73. The low today was 65. The stock closed at 70. That doesn't do anything for me, right? Meta's today high was 49.70s. The low was 23. The stock's at 40. Does nothing for me. NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA, the high today was 19.30. The low today was 10. The stock closed at 16. Does nothing for me. On and on and on. I don't need to go through every single stock. So our biggest problem is we're going to need the market to do the heavy lifting for us. And what I mean by that is we're going to need to see if this was indeed an evidence event of sellers getting tired. Our game plan changed a little bit, right? Initially, I thought, well, if we get a close at the highs, if we could get a washout in the morning, start taking out today's channels, we could get a really big, massive rally tomorrow, right? The fact that we sold off into the middle ranges towards the end of the day, the game plan, it kind of shifts a little bit, right? It really shifts a little bit now to see which side confirms. After the close, you had Ludwig come out and say, well, wait a minute. There's a chance, right? There's a chance that Trump might reverse his stance on Canada and Mexico. And then what happened after the close? Stocks started ticking back up. So tomorrow we need to be a little bit more patient, right? And more patient than normal because we are in the middle of the ranges. So if the bulls indeed, right, made the bears kind of tap out at least for a couple of days, well, then tomorrow we need to get back above today's ranges. The problem is by the time we get above today's ranges, you're buying stocks really, really strong in the day. And raise your hand who feels really, really comfortable. For example, if Meta gets above today's channel, right, it's going to need to reclaim back its 50-day moving average. That means tomorrow you're buying it up at least $11, $12. Raise your hand in this environment. You feel comfortable buying Meta into strength up $10, $11. Raise your hand in this environment after NVIDIA is getting absolutely destroyed every single day. Lower lows, lower highs, every single day. Who wants to buy NVIDIA tomorrow up 5, right? Up 5 above today's channels, knowing it's sold all basically 4 into the close, right? That's the problem, folks. That's the problem we are kind of seeing going to tomorrow's session. So it might be one of those things that maybe take a step back for one day to kind of let them go through the bushes, start, clearing a path maybe for the next day, right? Because the key metric here is, and especially in a very aggressive market like we've seen, the market needs to close at the top of the bottom of the range. Because if it closes at the bottom of the range, well, there's more selling going to happen tomorrow. If the market closes at the top of the range, despite the selling the last 3 weeks, we know there's a high probability for a day two, but now we're kind of even Steven. We're right in the middle. So tomorrow, I'm going to give every opportunity for the bulls to play out. I'm going to give every opportunity for the bears to play out. Usually, I try to get my day done in the first hour, hour and a half, at least most of it done. Tomorrow, realistically, you might start your day at 11 o'clock in the morning, okay? Because you need to see these channels kind of play out, both long and short. The one thing that is not a good look for the tape right now is the financials. Usually I don't talk about the financials, but let's be honest, the financials are the most, right? The most important group as far as Wall Street meets Main Street. Again, the financial crisis wasn't caused because Google was having a problem. The financial crisis wasn't caused because, I don't know, AMD had some issues. The financials had a problem because the financials had problems. And what we saw today was really, really aggressive selling. If you go through the board, you kind of see, right? Citibank got smoked. Bank of America got smoked, right? I mean, and you go through the whole name, JP Morgan, right? All of them, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, every single financial got smoked. So the question is, maybe do we possibly, and I hate to say this out loud, do we let the technology names kind of do their thing for the next 12 hours or so, kind of pick a direction and start maybe watching the financials? Is it possible we get a second day sell-off on the financials? At least I'm going to watch, right? At least I'm going to watch. Again, it's not really a group I want to, I want to pay attention to. But when the financials start sticking out, right? When the financials start sticking out, you almost have to pay attention. And that's the most important part. So going into tomorrow, again, we got problems from the trading aspect just because everything is in the middle of the channels. Tesla is just destroyed, right? This is now first close below the 200-day moving average. What are we talking about, guys? Right? This is the pivot today. Tesla 273.60 is the 200-day moving average. 270 is the pre-market lows. Needs to confirm for more selling. Tesla went down 12, man, from the pivot. It was already down 8 pre-market. This thing got murdered today, right? Amazon got absolutely destroyed today. At one point, losing its 200-day moving average. 202.50. If it builds below, can lose the 65. Not only did it lose the 65, it traded all the way down to 197 before recovering like everything else. So the moral of the story, right? The moral of the story is we're kind of in a pickle, right? We're kind of in a pickle going into tomorrow's session. I'm going to try to be very, very patient. Look, I would love to see the bulls kind of wake up to give us a day 2 rally, but that sell-off towards the last 15 minutes of the day is just not giving me a good, warm, fuzzy feeling either way, right? Either way. But again, you can look at today's day as half full, half empty. I'm kind of looking at today's day as kind of delta neutral. It would have been great if we did close at the top of the range, would have made tomorrow's session a lot clearer, but now we're kind of in limbo. So sometimes as a trader, if you're an active trader like I am, and for all you guys on the webinar and so forth and so on, we kind of know that no trading day is going to make your career. But if you trade poorly and try to guess which side is going to confirm, it could end your career really, really quick by death with 1,000 paper cuts. So let's watch the financials to see if there's a day 2 sell-off. Let's watch to see if the bulls can somehow get back above today's channels. But the most important thing, guys, one trade at a time, one day at a time. You don't need to trade every single day. You definitely don't need to trade every single day that you don't have an edge. But let's see if the market can do the heavy lifting for us so the edge can be decisive. Guys, God bless everybody. Have a great night. With God's help, I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.